It's a song called Sleepy Tune. I learned it off a record of Norman Kennedy's, which was less ethnic than saying I learned it off a tape of Norman Kennedy's. I have to start with the chorus. These sort of scholastic fellas always bugger up these kind of songs because, you know, they tell you the tune is the same as about 5 other songs, you see. And I was doing fine with this song and I was getting the tune all right. And they told me on the sleeve notes that it was the same as the Battle of Harlow. And it's not. And now I can't sing it to the right tune, you know. I'll try.
You shouldn't have said that.
We'll see how it goes now. Battle of Harlow's not a bad tune then. It happened on the Whitsuntime at Tyrado, my place, and I get into inch to fee my fortune for the chase hands. Sing irie and sing irie an. It happened on the Whitsuntime at Tyrado, my place, and I get into inch to fee my fortune for the chase hands. Sing irie an. Ah, that's useless. See, bloody after Argo. There's notes. I'll leave it, I'll not bother singing that.
Very good, Jim.
Anyway, if you ever get a hold of Norman Kennedy, get him to sing it to you. It's a very nice song. I'll sing you that 5-foot flood, written by Cyril Tawney. It's got a lovely chorus. Don't tell me Jim Johnson weren't with thee last night. I heard him as plain as could be. I was crossing the mound when I heard a strange sound down by the sycamore tree. I thought perhaps a cow had got stuck in the mud and pulled out her foot with a moo. But I'm satisfied now that that noise weren't a cow, it was Jim kissing you. You're my 5-foot flirt in the robes of an angel, you'd better had Levi alone. By the way you're acting it nearly on their side, the thing that preserves I is my joviality. Though I got troubles as thick as the stubble, it's you that's the worst of them all. Get out of my track, and if you want to come back, you can crawl, crawl, crawl. Remember what happened last Saturday night? The air was so peaceful and still. Like a bolt from the blue came a hullabaloo, growling and cackling so shrill. Now it entered my head as I tumbled from bed, there's a fox at the chickens, that's true. I went out in my socks and bumped into the fox, it was Jim kissing you. You're my 5-foot flirt in the hopes of an angel, you'd better had Levi alone. By the way you're acting it nearly on their side, the thing that preserves I is my joviality. Though I got troubles as thick as the stubble, it's you that's the worst of them all. Get out of my track, and if you want to come back, you can crawl, crawl, crawl. Now what's your excuse for last Sunday in church? It fair turned the poor vicar grey. While the organist was rendering lead on kindly light, Jim Johnson was pumping away. When all of a sudden the organ stopped short, the vicar got into a stew. When he looked round behind, tell me what did he find? He found Jim kissing you. You're my 5-foot flirt in the robes of an angel, you'd better had Levi alone. By the way you're acting it nearly on the side, the thing that preserves I is my joviality. Though I got troubles as thick as the stubble, it's you that's the worst of them all. Get out of my track, and if you want to come back, you can crawl, crawl, crawl.
Balancing a ceiling on the end of a pole. That's a variety show.
Oh, abroad as I was walking all on the King's Highway, I've been weary of my travelling for many a long day. I met a lovely woman with a babe all in her arms. She kissed the babe and said she wished its father would return. Oh, good evening, lovely woman, I long to meet you here. With your pretty babe all in your arms, you seem to love so dear. I think I know his father and you before I've seen. Don't you remember the day, my love, when you wore the gown so green? Now she threw her arms around him and fainted away. Is it you, my lovely Henry, turned home to me again? Long time I've been lamenting, but now I'll make a vow. Neither peace nor comfort have I had since from me you've been gone. Well, now I lost a limb in battle, love, and that you plain can see. Through saving a bold commander's life that proved the ruin of me. But I've got a noble pension, both silver and gold in store, and I mean to make you my lawful bride, and go abroad no more. So let you and I take a license, love, upon this very day, and let you and I get married, love, without any more delay. With your sweet prattling baby, more pleasures you will see. You'll never no more repent the day when you wore the gown so green.
Song I haven't sung for about 3 years, and I've not heard anybody singing it for about 2 years. Anyway, so I love the lass. I loved a lass, and I loved her sae weel, and I hated all others was sparkle her eel. But now she's rewarded me well for my love. She's gone to be wed to another. When I saw my love to the church go, with bride and bridemaiden, she made a fine show. And I followed on with a heart full of woe, but it's no been my fortune to get her. When I saw my love sitting to dine, I sat down beside her and poured out the wine. And I drank to the lassie what should have been mine, but now she is wed to another. Now the men o' yon forest They ask it o' me, how many strawberries grow in the salt sea. I answer them back wi' a tear in my eye, how many ships sail in the forest. So dig me a grave and dig it sae deep, and I'll lay down for to take a langs. Oh Christ, have it over. That's it. So dig me a grave, both lang, wide and deep, and cover it o'er with fluid sae sweet. And I will lie down for to take a lang sleep, and maybe in time I'll forget her.
As I get out one clear moon night in winter, who should I see but a pretty fair maid, and she was a rum one for the diddle-I-do way, and a bonny one for the diddle-I-do. She walked up and she walked down, and I walked close aside her. I asked her the reason that she couldn't step nae wider, and she was a rum one for the diddle-I-do way, and a bonny one for the diddle-I-do. Go away, ye foolish young man, stop your foolish talk, and little becomes young men, says she, to pick up young women walking. And she was a rum one for the diddle-I-do way, and a bonny one for the diddle-I-do. But I'm a doctor to McBride, my friends they cry me rare. Oh, if you tell me where your trouble lies, well I'll cure it neat and square. Oh, when she was a rum one for the diddle-I-do way, and a bonny one for the diddle-I-do. My trouble lies atween my thighs, and it's there that it's abiding. It tickles me both night and morn, and keeps me frae my striding. And she was a rum one for the diddle-I-do way, and a bonny one for the diddle-I-do. So I laid her down upon the bank, and I provided a plaster. She jumped up onto her knees, saying I wish you'd never end it. And she was a rum one for the diddle-I-do way, and a bonny one for the diddle-I-do. Now she gave to me my winter's beef, likewise my winter fire, and far better than that she gave to me was a stabling for my stallion. And she was a rum one for the diddle-I-do way, and a bonny one for the diddle-I-do.
It's a bit of a nonsense song, but there's plenty of space for people to join in with. Plenty of repeated lines and so on. And if anyone can think up a verse before the end, they can join in and sing it. It just depends on finding rhymes for various colours. I met a maid dressed in white, all in white. I met a maid all in white was she. I met a maid all in white, I kept her out all night, down by the castle where she followed me. Oh, I met a maid all in red, all in red, all in red. I met a maid all in red was she. I met a maid all in red, and I laid her on the bed, down by the castle where she followed me. Oh, I met a maid all in blue, all in blue, all in blue. I met a maid all in blue was she. I met a maid all in blue, and I stole her foggy dew, down by the castle where she followed me. And I met a maid all in pink, all in pink, all in pink. I met a maid all in pink was she. I met a maid all in pink, and I stole her tiddlywink, down by the castle where she followed me. Oh, I met a maid all in black, all in black, all in black. I met a maid all in black was she. I met a maid all in black, and I laid her on her back down by the castle where she followed me anymore. I met a maid all in brown, all in brown, all in brown. I met a maid all in brown was she. I met a maid all in brown, and I asked her to get them down. Wow.
You get the idea.
That's a good idea, yeah. Well, we'll leave it another song I started first. Oh, I am an old tailor now by trade, and to cut an old patch I'm terrible handy. But all the money I do earn, my wife drink it on whiskey and brandy. Oh, wasn't she a queer one, ballad-diddle-ide? Oh, wasn't she a queer one, I tell you. Now, whenever I go to take a drink or for to get a noggin, my drunken wife, she follows me, a-cursing like a dragon. Oh, wasn't she a queer one, ballad-diddle-ide? Oh, wasn't she a queer one, I tell you. Saying, come along home, you drunken sot, and don't get spending all my riches, for you just keep what you have got, and I will wear the breeches. Oh, wasn't she a queer one, ballad-diddle-ide? Oh, wasn't she a queer one, I tell you. Now one evening I was sitting just by the fireside, when the teapot she let fly at me, but quickly I retired. Oh, wasn't she a queer one, ballad-diddle-ide? Oh, wasn't she a queer one, I'll tell you. Now it's lads for lasses, men for women. Now never marry for love, no, not for riches, but get thee a girl about 3 foot tall, and then you'll wear the breeches. Oh, wasn't she a queer one, ballad-diddle-ide? Oh, wasn't she a queer one, I'll tell you. Yes. Doesn't versus that.
I have played with many guitarists during my soldiering in Scotland, and I think Phil is one of the finest I've met to date, believe it or not. It's all lies, of course. It's all lies. However,
you'll be after me to buy me a pint next.
Yes, he is a fine guitarist. He's a fine musician. He's very dedicated, and that's what I like about him.
He doesn't love it.
This is a reel that used to be whistled by during the time of when you stole a sheep. That's how the saying came, it's good to be hungry sheep as a lamb. If you stole a loaf of bread in those days, you were transported to Van Diemen's land, and they pierced your left eardrum with some sort of a sharp instrument anyhow. It wasn't a violin bow, I'm quite sure. But however, they used to whistle this, the Irish men, I believe, used to whistle this to one another to let them know their nationality, you see, and whistle this reel. It's known as the flogging reel. They got flogged for whistling it. And they were tied up by their thumbs to the yard arm, and they were flogged. And this is the reel. A bit jazzed up, I'm afraid. Last evening I went down to Rye Williamson's, you all know of him, very fine decent man and a very fine decent woman, and they asked me well, very fine decent people, and wonderful people. I was there until about 7 o'clock this morning, by the way, at a party, after being at the Cayley, at the Kelly Hall, the drop when the boys were playing, and this person asked me how did I like my stay in Scotland, because it's 1932 since I was in Scotland before, by the way. And I'm sure some of them are saying that I hope it'll be another 35 years before I go back again. I said, well, I enjoyed every moment of it, I said, but for one thing that marred the whole sunshine, it put a cloud on the sunshine, I said, of my stay in Scotland. I said, they're wonderful people and treated me very well. But I said, one thing I said marred the whole thing yesterday. I was walking through Princess Street, I said, and I was looking through a jeweller's window by the name of, I think it's Mackay and Chisholm, I'm not quite sure how you say it here. However, this old lady came up with a policeman, you see, and of course, he said, come on. Well, I said, what's this about? I said, I'm just looking through the window. Oh, this is no yarn, this is definitely the truth. So he said, oh, you better come, he said. So I said, oh, nothing. I wouldn't argue with those fellas. I might argue with Phil now and again about a tune, but not with those fellas. However, I was brought to the police station in a black van, and the next thing happens, he said, this old lady, he says, charges you with stealing a £5 note on her. Good Christ, I never saw her before in my life, I said. You know, and I didn't. And I was locked up in here in the cell, and I said, you madam, you can come to the court in the morning. So she went away, and in about 2 hours' time she came back, and she was awfully sorry, and she was all apologies and everything. She said, oh, mister, she said, what am I going to do? recompense you and all the trouble I've caused you and all this thing. I said, it's all right, don't worry about it. And I was really raging now, I was. But anyhow, she said, well, look at, I went back to the jeweller, she said, where I was purchasing some earrings for my grandniece or somebody else, and she said, the attendant gave me the £5 note. She said, he found it where I had opened my bag, and she said, I thought you had taken it because you were standing quite close to me talking to one of the attendants. So I said, well, I didn't, and that's that, and I was, but however, she said, well, you will have to have it. Oh, I said, I don't want it. So the copper came over to me and said, look what he says, Ted, for goodness sake, don't be a damn fool, he said. Take it, he said, we searched you, he said, and all we got on you was 10 bob, he said, and damn it, he said, fine, will be all right, he said, go and take it. He said, I hope you don't hold it against us because we're only doing our job. No, I said, I don't hold anything against anybody, which I didn't. But, anyhow, he said, you better take it, he says. So he took it off the old lady, put it into my hand, and he folded up my fingers up and he said, go on, take that, he said. And I thanked the old lady, thanked the cop and all this, and I went out. And going out, I bumped up against this fellow coming in. He was probably a private eye or something, I don't know, but I bumped up against him anyhow. And he said to me, sorry. He was in a terrible hurry. I said, it's all right. And I woke up saying, it's all right, and somebody was shaking me in the bloody bed, and I had my hands so tightly clasped, and I looked into it, and Christ, I said, where's this £5 note? It wasn't there, of course. At home in Dublin there's a fellow they call the Magpie, you see, and he's always getting people into trouble. Yes, he got me into trouble, so it goes something like this. I stood outside the cabin door and the Magpie says, come in, and the Magpie says, come in. The door was open, I walked in and I saw something there. A maiden with a dimpled chin and she combing her black hair, and she combing her black hair. No deep surprise stood in her eyes, but yet she did not frown, but she even smiled like a pretty child, and the Magpie said, sit down, and the Magpie said, sit down. Faith, I sat down on her father's chair. The Magpie says, kiss her, and the Magpie says, kiss her. When all in haste I clasped her waist, she screamed out, oh, no. But it was so nice that I kissed her twice, and the Magpie says, bravo, and the Magpie says, bravo. Now her father, he came rushing in, and swearing he began, and he caught me in his voice like grip, the grasp of an honest man, the grasp of an honest man. Yet he tore me clothes and broke me nose, I can feel it to this day. Then he heaved me into the washing tub, and the Magpie says, hooray, and the Magpie said, hooray. Little reel is called the Boys of the Loch. There's a place down in the west of Ireland called Loch Allen, and there's a little village there, and there's an inn in it, and it says the Loch Inn, and I don't mean locked in, never did, but we might as well be for the hours we have over there. Anyhow, it's the Loch Inn, and it goes something like this. Don't mind if I sit down, I hope. I tell it better this way. I went out for a bit of a ride in a bus, one of the fine buses you've got here in Edinburgh, Scotland rather. And I went out to the zoo, by the way, of all places, to see some of my ancestors. However, while waiting for a bus on the return journey, I was talking to this young lady, and she said to me, I saw you, she said, in the folk centre. I said, you probably have. She said, you're the fiddler. I said, that's right. The only fiddler I said outside of Sandy Bell's bar. All the other fiddlers are inside. But however, she said, I was talking to her and she had lovely cultured accent and all that thing. I said, are you English? No, she said, I'm not. I'm Scots. But I'm a teacher. I'm a school teacher. Oh, I said, I see. So, but there was another young lady come up and she introduced me to her. This is, I don't know what you call her, Sally or something. And she said, she's a teacher as well. So they got into the bus, and of course, poor Pat had to pay their fare and everything, but that's beside the point. They were yapping and talking, and I saw this old girl behind us, and I was talking away to them anyhow, and one says, oh, good Lord, she says, Margaret, how many children have you got now? Oh, she said, like 34, she said, like 14 boys now, she said, and 20 girls. Oh, she said, lovely. Well, see? So the other one says, well, how about you? She said, how many have you got? She said, well, we had 28, she said, you know. And she said, we, you see. She said, we had 28, meaning the old teacher, I suppose. And she said, we have had 2 new ones, she said, in the last month. And she said, makes it 30. And the other one says, well, what are they? Oh, she said, a boy and a girl, you see. So I'll be there, the next thing I heard this voice behind me. And she said, excuse me, lady, says she, Peter, she, would you be able to tell me, says she, what part of old Ireland did your husbands come from? Now, I have been in Scotland, did I tell you before? 1932, I believe it was. I was getting paid then for rambling around Scotland and collecting some songs and stories. And I used to get about £3.10 a week sent on to me, which was a fortune in those days. There were men working in tunnels and in mines, they didn't get it. But I bicycled around Scotland and collected music here, there and everywhere else. And this is a little ballad I got up in Aberdeenshire, and I never have heard it since, only in Ireland, been the song, by the famous Seamus Ennis. That's the only man I ever heard singing it. And I'm very disappointed that it's not sung more in this country, believe it or not. I am very disappointed. And it's a very simple little ballad, nice little ditty, and it's Scots all the way through, you may believe it or not. So it goes something like this. Let's see. Ah, what have you in your pack? What have you on your back? Says the false knight to the child on the road. Faith, I've nothing in me pack, or nothing on me back, said the pretty little child, only 7 years old. Ah, what's rounder than the ring? What's higher than the king? Says the false knight to the child on the road. Oh, God is higher than a king, the world is rounder than a ring, said the pretty little child, only 7 years old. What's higher than a tree? What's deeper than the sea? Says the false knight to the child on the road. Heaven is higher than a tree, hell is deeper than the sea, said the pretty little child, only 7 years old. Oh, then have you got a father? Have you got a sister? And have you got a brother? Says the false knight to the child on the road. No, I've only got a father and I've only got a mother, said the pretty little child, only 7 years old. curse upon your father and me curse upon your mother, says the false knight to the child on the road. Ah, a blessing on me father and a blessing on me mother, says the pretty little child, only 7 years old. Did you notice how I played it to the air of the Flowers of Edinburgh? I have to go back there tonight, you see. Ah, yes, I'm sitting down again, so there's something coming. Another story, I suppose. Yes, somebody told me in Sandy Bells one night, I was telling them something and they told me that I could kiss the Blarney Stone. Well, as a matter of fact, I have. Twice.
You can tell.
I have. Thank you. I have indeed. And Phil said that he was so poor at making speeches and all that sort of thing. I'm very poor at them too, you know. So whatever. That he's coming over to kiss us sometime, and he wants me to hold his feet, by the way. And I will, don't worry. And I'm shaking, so it'll all fall out of his pockets.
I'll tell you one thing, if he pulls my boots off, he'll regret it.
Anyhow, in the days, years and years and years gone by, in the hiring fairs, there was hiring fairs in Ireland, I suppose there was Scotland too, you see, and they had a bunch of people there and they were hiring maids and servant boys and other things for to milk cows and clean out houses and mow. And they hadn't mowing machines in those days. They had a thing called a raping hook that they used to pull the corn towards them and they would have put a bit pull like that and so on like that. Anyhow, this old boy goes up along, he sees this little girl in and he said to her, well, you're not hired to get in, says he. Well, no, so says she, Fate, I wasn't. And says she, me granny told me she used to get £4 for the whole year. Well, now, says he, I'll give you 3. Oh, so she, I want 4, Fate. So he put out your poor arm there and he felt her muscle anyhow, and she bent her arm, she flexed her muscles up and down like that. So well she could. But however, the next thing happens was my dad, he hired her. So she, now what will I call you, sir? So she said, Master, no, so she, my name, says he, is Don Neprisanto, exactly. Right? Then says she, sir, I won't forget it. Come on, says he, what do you call that? After coming up a mile of a mucky lane, you know, on a mare and back-to-back trap. So she felt I'd call it the house, the thick, and she stopped in place anyhow. No, get in, says he, that's this great castle of straw bungle. All right, now, says he, go and light the fire, says he, in the name of goodness, says he, and I'll on your Peggy, says he, and I'll put her into a stable. So she went in, she lit the fire, a dutiful little girl, lit the fire and put the kettle on, and of course swept up the floor and laid the cups on the table and everything else. When Don Neprisanto come in, he thought he was in a different house altogether when he saw the table so tidy and everything else. The flour bag tablecloth was gone off it, and there was something else thrown over it, and it was wiped clean and everything else, scrubbed white. So says he, you're great, get in. Well, now, so she said, I'm only doing my best. I'm only doing my best, Don, says she. So, my dad, anyhow, she started to pour water into the kettle. Says he, what do you call that, says he? Water, sir, says she. Wet, says she, whatever you like to call it, bed, says she. No, says he, that's pondalorum, says he. Beth, says he, all right, don't forget to get in. What do you call that, says he, you're putting that kettle over the fire, sir, says she. Tinner, agate water. No, says he. That's hot cockalorum. After the supper, anyhow, she bent down and she started to loosen the laces in his boots. And what do you call them, says he? Your shoes, or your brogues, your boots, maybe, says she. No, says he, them are my hay-down treaders. And don't forget to get in, says he. I won't, says she, sir. So, I'll be dad. The next thing happens was, he shook the end of his trousers, says he, what do you call those? Your bricks, or says she, your breeches, says she, or pants. What do you like to call it yourself? No, says he. Then he says, it's my wedding crackers, he said. Oh, right, sir, says she, I won't forget it. So says he, come on now and I'll show you where you'll sleep tonight. So he brought her up the stairs, or up this little hen's ladder up to the loft, and by dad, he showed her this big mattress and it's stuffed with rushes, Fate. Or benching lucre, as they say in the Irish language. And by dad, the next thing says he, what do you call that, says he? Says she, that's the bed, the lobby, says she, where I go to sleep, isn't it? Well, says he, no, that's the buncle laddie. Oh, grand, says she, buncle laddie. So as they opened the door of his room, this is my room now, says he. And if ever you want anything, says he, this is the door you knock at. And as they opened the door, this bloody big black and white tomcat run out of the room. And he run down the stairs. Now, says he, what do you call him? Says she, the kitten, sir. Says she, the cat. Says she, Tom. Says she, what do you like yourself? No, says he. That's white-faced simony now, says he, and don't forget that. And said, you see where he's sitting? I do, sir. Says she, it's on the third step of the stairs. Not at all, says he. Stairs be fiddled, says he. That's, says he, the wooden hill. And don't forget it, says he, Galen. I won't, sir, says she. Now, I am going to bed, says he, because I'll have to be up early in the morning. Of course, he wouldn't be up half as early. She would be milking the cows and so on like that, baking the bread and everything else. And, says he, I'm going to have a sleep, because I have a lot of ploughing to do tomorrow, says he. Good night, says he, now, says he. And, says he, I'll see you in the morning, see you Lacoon of day, which means with God's help. Anyhow, away she went to bed. She swept the hearth and raked the fire. The fires are never put out in parts of Ireland. I know this for a fact myself. I'm sure some of you do too. And maybe in Scotland the same way. They rake it, put the ashes over the embers, and they have it ready for the next morning to poke it out. But however, she raked the fire, and because she went up the stairs into her little room and into her little bunker laddie now. But lay down and went to sleep. So the next thing she heard this terrible screeching in the middle of the night, and she run down the stairs. And here she sees the poor cat. He was stretched in front of the embers. And the poor thing never seen the fire raked so well in his life. He let his tail fall into the red embers, do you see? And the coal of fire stuck to his head. Oh my God. And she looks at him, and she was afraid of him. He was going mad up the walls and breaking steps and everything. And she ran up the bloody stairs, she knocked the door. She don't let me sand us, says she. Put on your wearing crackers, your head down inside her, she come down the wooden hill, says she, and throw some pondalorum, says she, and white face seminars, because it got a hot coal, says she, a cockalorum on his tail, says she, and if you don't, she, the castle Strawbung will go on fire. Now this is a jig indeed, by the way. This is a jig now, and it's called the battering ram. Now the battering ram, when you say battering ram, sheep just comes to your mind immediately. Well, it's not. It's the same thing, I'm quite sure, that happened in Scotland that happened in Ireland. A battering ram was a big long pole and about 10 men behind it, and they were battering in the doors. So this is the jig for you. Well, now this is a little thing. I'm sure you all know it. And if you go into some of the whiz joints in New York, I happen to have the pleasure of being there on one or two occasions, believe it or not. And you'll hear a bloody big jazz band going mad to this. Well, if you go down along Chinatown, you'll hear the very same thing getting played like this. And go in there to Sloppy Joe's sometime, ask him, does he know Ted Furey? He's an Italian, by the way. He'll tell you. He met me one time or another. And you'll hear the people there sitting on the steps, nursing babies, the women particularly. Anyhow, yes, the women, yes. And they're sitting there and they're lullabying their babies to sleep, and it goes something like this. You have a reel here called, in Scotland, I mean, called the Hens March to the Midden, I believe. Well, our hens, they march to the Midden too, and now I mean hens, I heard that. But we have another one in Ireland called Jenny's Chickens. It's a bit faster than the Hens March, so I'll go something like this.
Well, we'll be seeing more of Ted and Bill later on. We'll now have an interval.
If you want a bosom for to sweep your hoose, come to me, my henny, she may have your choose. Buy broom bosoms, buy them when they're new, fine heather bread's better never grew. If I had a bosom, I would have it black. If you win it, buy, I'll tie them on me back. Buy broom bosoms, buy them when they're new, fine heather bread's better never grew. If I had a horse, then I would have a cat. If I had a wife, then she would take me pat. Buy broom bosoms, buy them when they're new, fine heather bread's better never grew. If I had a wife, I care not what she be. If she's but a woman, that's enough for me. Buy broom bosoms, buy them when they're new, fine heather bread's better never grew. If she liked a droppy or a degree, all them there for me. Buy them bosoms, buy them when they're new. Fine heather bread, it's better never grew. If that she be bonny, well, life would be sweet. If that she be ugly, what's the odds at meat? Buy them bosoms, buy them when they're new. Fine heather bread, it's better never grew. Yes. I like to sing Johnny my man. It's about a man that forsakes his wife and children for the whiskey, but eventually goes back to them. Johnny my man, they nothing horizon, for the night it feels damned, and the time's wearing on. Your cellars are dead, and your house was done for ye. Oh, arise, bonny Johnny, and come awa him. Oh, who is that I hear speaking say kindly? For it sounds like the voice of my ain wifey Jane. Ah, come by me, dearie, I'll sit down aside me, for there is room in this tavern for more than me. Och, Johnny, my man, your bairns is all greeting, and there's nae meal in the barrel to feed the wee wen. When you're all drinking, you leave me lamenting. Oh, arise, bonny Johnny, and come awa him. So Johnny arose, and he's banged the door open, saying, my curse on the tavern that e'er let me in. I am cursed be the whiskey that makes me say thirsty. There we'll take ye whiskey for I'm awa him. Now Johnny's awa him, to his wife and 3 bairnies, wagons out on a Sunday, with our clays neat and trim. Johnny's awa him, to his wife in the Highlands. I and Wallace say happy as Johnny and Jane.
very pleased now to introduce someone who's not sung at the club before. Not quite sure where she comes from, but anyway, she's living in this town now. It's Jane Mackenzie.
I'm afraid I don't know any Scottish songs. But I'd like to sing you two folk songs that I know. I've never sung in front of an audience before, so if you'll excuse any shaking of voice. From Portsmouth I went down to the harbour. A tall ship from England sailed up to the quay, and I fell in love with a handsome young sailor, but he only laughed as he whispered to me, from Portsmouth I'll soon be gone. Mahon came the order one morning to haul up the anchor and not to delay. And then that tall ship sailed away from the harbour, but still in my heart I could hear my love say, from Portsmouth I'll soon be gone. Laughing or weeping, the world will go on. To Portsmouth came the news of her battle. Never, oh never, a letter for me. Portsmouth, I'll soon be gone. Laughing or weeping, the world will go on. I'd like to sing you a song now, which I expect most of you know. It's called Blowing in the Wind. How many roads must a man walk down before you can call him
These words were composed by Spencer the Rover, who travelled Great Britain and most parts of Wales. They had been most reduced, which caused great confusion, and that was the reason he went on the road. In Yorkshire near Rotherham he had been on the ramble. Being weary of travelling, he sat down to rest. While at the foot of yonder mountain, where runs a clear fountain, with bread and cold water, he himself did refresh. It tasted far sweeter than the gold he had wasted, far sweeter than honey, and gained more content. But the thoughts of his baby, lamenting their father, brought tears to his eyes, which made him lament. The night fast approaching, to the woods he resorted, with woodbine and ivy his bed for to make. He dreamt about sighing, lamenting and crying, go home to your family and rambling forsake. On the 5th of November I've a reason to remember, when first he arrived home to his family and friends. They stood so surprised when first he arrived, to see such a stranger once more in their sight. His children came around him with their brittle prattling stories, with their brittle prattling stories, to drive care away. And now they are united, like birds of one feather, like bees in one hive, contented they'll stay.
Well, about 2 years ago, I was a resident of this club. I don't suppose many of you here now will remember that. Anyway, in those days, who's after me, fags? Right? Oh, that's lovely. In those days, Pete Shepherd used to sing a song called Waterside. If he still sings it, I apologise to him. I want to sing it. One morning fair I took the air down by black Waterside. 'Twas in gazing all around me put on his clothes, saying, fare thee well today. That's not the promise that you made to me when first you lay all on my breast. Sure you could make me believe by the falling of your hand that the sun rose in the west. Then go home to your father's garden. Go home and weep your fill, and think on your sad misfortune that you brought by your wanton will. There's not a girl in this whole wide world as easy led as I. Sure its fishes will fly and seas run dry, and it's then you'll marry I.
A song that, a lot of recruiting songs, and a song that's my favourite just now, about young chaps that, well, two young chaps that are asked to join the army, and they more or less tell the sergeant major to go to hell. It's lovely. Arthur McBride. I once knew a fellow named Arthur McBride, and he and I rambled down by the seaside, all looking for pleasure and what may betide, and the weather was pleasant and charming. So gaily and gallant we went on our tramp. We met Sergeant Harper in Corporal Cramp, and the little wee fella that roused up the camp with his rowdy-dow-do in the morning. Good morning, young fellows, the sergeant he cried. The same to you, sergeant, was all our reply. There was nothing more mentioned. We went to pass by and continue our walk in the morning. Oh, now, me young fellows, if you will enlist, it's a guinea in gold I will slap in your fist, and half a crown to the bargain to beat up the dust and to drink the Queen's health in the morning. Oh no, Mr. Sergeant, we are not for sale. We care not to fight, though your bride prevail. We're not tired of our country, nor care for to sail, though your offer is pleasant and charming. If we were such fools as to take your advance, it's a devilish land, there would be a fine chance, and the Queen wouldn't scruple to send us to France and to have us all shot in the morning. Oh now, me young blackguards, if you say one more word, I swear by the herons I'll draw out my sword and I'll run through your body as mist ran through a ford. So now, me young buckles, take warning, but we took that old drummer as flat as a shoe. We made a football of his rowdy-dow-do, and as for the others, well, we knocked out the two. Oh, we were the boys in that morning, for we took the old weapons that hung by the side, and we threw them as far as we could in the tide. Seen the devil go with you, says Arthur McBride, for Dilly, and now walk this fine morning.
Yes, lovely. Seduction song from Aberdeenshire, if I can remember it. I got this off of vaguely from Ginny Roberts, but honestly it's from a record. Was it this? Lasses at milk and the feathers sky, when a gentleman on horseback he come riding by. A gentleman on horseback he come riding by. He was the laird of the Denty by. Oh lassie, and what would you do if you were to lie in act with me? Ach, to lie in act, that'll never, never be. Suppose you laird of the Denty by. He's catched her by the middle, says Mourne, he's laying her where the grass grew long. It was a long, long time before he raised it up again. Says your lady of the Denty by. It fell upon the day, on a bonny summer's day, when to feast the lass's feather, some money had to pay. To feast the lass's feather, some money had to pay. Said the laird of the Denty by. Hello, good morning, and how do you do? And how is your doctor, Jonathan, too? Aye, how is your doctor, Jonathan, new? Since the later in the Denty by. Oh, my doctor, Jonathan, she's no very well. The pair wee Jonathan, she canna face the kill. Ah, my doctor, Jonathan, she's looking on Capel. Since you later in the Denty by. So he's catched her by the lily white hand. He's shown her his rooms, they were 21. And he's put the key into her hand. Says you lady, oh the Denty by. Oh, says the old man, what will we do? Ah, says the old wife, I'll dance till I die. Aye, says the old man, I think I'll do too. Since she's lady of the Denty by.
Well, this is an English version of a ballad which was originally Scottish, I think. It's, no, not sure. It's a version of a night visiting song called The Great Cock. It's one of the versions which sort of come in between the original versions where you hear about the murder and the later ones where he doesn't die at all. It's just him that comes back instead of his ghost. But it's a great cock. Oh,
I'm not very concisely.
I'm not telling that story again.
Well, he told it on at Glasgow last week, you know, and he expects you all to know it.
I'm not telling it again, that was enough. Let's do it again. I must be going, no longer staying. The burning Thames I have to cross, I will be guided without a stumble into the arms of my own true love. And he's arose to approach the bedroom window, and knelt he gently all on a stone, and through the glass he's whispered to her, oh, my dear maid, do you lie alone? She's raised her head from a down white pillow, her hand she's placed on her lily white breast, saying, who's this at me bedroom windows? disturbing me at my quiet rest. 'Tis I your lover, but don't discover. Open the door and let me in, for I have come on a long night's journey, and I am soaked to the very skin. So this maid arose and put on her clothing. She opened the door and let him in. They kissed, shook hands and caressed each other, and through that long night they lay as one. Oh, Willie dear, oh dearest Willie, where is that colour you'd some time ago? Oh, Mary dear, 'tis the grave which changed me. I am the ghost of your Willie, oh. And Willie dear, oh dearest, sorry, and it's cock, oh handsome cockerel, I bid you not crow until 'tis day, and your wings I'll make of the very best beaten gold, and your comb I'll make of the silver grey. But the cock he crew, and it crew so fully, it crew 3 hours before 'twas day, and before 'twas day my love had to leave me, not by the light of moon nor the light of day. Then Willie dear, oh dearest Willie, and when will you return again? When the fishes fly, love, and the sea runs dry, love, and the rocks they melt in the heat of the sun.
It's a mining song about a mythical character that exists in the Durham coalfields and the North Wales coalfields, and also somewhere in the Scottish coalfields. He's a sort of larger-than-life miner. Not quite Lord Robbins, no. But I do take it up a bit. There's a refrain that comes in on the 2nd and 4th lines, if you can count. It goes like this: just go down. Out of the dirt and the darkness I was born, go down. Out of a hard rock coal face I was torn, go down. I kicked in the world and the earth split open, crawled through a crack where the rock was broken, burrowed a hole away in the coal, go down. And upon the day I was born I was 6 foot tall, go down. The very next day I learned the way to haul, go down. On the 3rd day worked at port and pillar, worked at the seam as a long wall filler, getting the coal away in the hole, go down. I'm the son of a son of a son of a collier's son, go down. Coal dust flays, coal dust flows in my veins where the blood should run, go down. 5 steel ribs and an iron backbone, teeth that can cut through rock and black stone, getting the coal away in the hole, go down. 300 years of hewing at the coal by hand, go down. In the pits of Durham and East Northumberland, go down. Been gassed and burned and blown asunder, buried more times than I can number, getting the coal away in the hole, go down. I'm leaving the western pits, I'm on my way, go down. I'm leaving the worked out seams, they've had their day, go down. The anthracite is black and shining, I'll try my luck at the hard rock mine and getting the coal away in the hole, go down. Out of the dirt and the darkness I was born, go down. Out of a hard rock coal face I was torn, go down. I've lived in the shade of the high pit heap, I'm still down there where the seams are deep, hewing the coal away in the hole, go down. This is a very straightforward account of one of Scotland's major problems. It's a song about a young girl that gets pregnant, and in this case, her father won't let the lad marry her. A song from the northeast of Scotland, where they've got a little village. I won't tell you the name of it, just in case you go there, but the population of this village has remained constant for 75 years. That's because every time a baby's born, a man leaves town. I learned the song from Davy Stewart, not the young Davy Stewart, the older version, called Bogey's Bonny Bell. And as I gae doon by Huntly Toon, a morning for tiffy, I fell in wi' Bogey O'Kearney, and wi' him I did agree. Take his twa best horses, or rake or herry or plew, or do anything about farm work I very well could do. Now Bogey had a daughter, and her name was Isabel. She was the lily o' the valley, and the flower o' the dell. And when she gaed out walking, she chose me for her guide, down by the burn o' Kearney, to watch the fishes glide. When the first 3 months were past and gone, this lassie lost her bloom. The red fell frae her rosy cheeks, and her eyes began to swoon. And when 9 long months were past and gane, she brought forth to me a son, and I was quickly called for to see what could be done. I said that I would marry her, but no, that wouldna do, for you're no a match for my bonny belle, and she's no a match for ye. Well, no, she's married to a tickler chiel that comes frae Huntly Toon. He mends pots and pans and paraffin lamps, and he scours the country. Aye, maybe she's gotten a better man, old Bogey cannot tell. So farewell, ye lads, a Huntly side, and Bogey's bonny bell. This is a very fine chorus song. You haven't been singing very loudly tonight. You're all too drunk, I think. It's a song about the border hunts, the old border hunts, when they didn't have all these sort of fancy red jackets and bowler hats and rah-rah-rah and all that. All they had was a shower of mongrel dogs, a lot of whiskey, and a lot of blithe old shepherds that used to run up the hills after the fox. But they still caught foxes. And I think actually the song is sympathetic with the fox, but your part is this. Hark away, o'er the bonny hills of Kielder, hark away. Dead simple. Take it in a nice high key. There's a high proportion of females in the audience tonight. Chorus goes like this. Hark away, hark away, o'er the bonny hills of Kielder, hark away. Hark, hark, I hear Langwell's clear voice sound through the Kielder glen, where the raven flaps her glossy wings and the fell fox has his den. And the shepherds, they are gathering up, wi' monies a getty out grew, wi' wiry terriers fleet and keen, and foxhounds neat and true. Hark away, rise it up. Hark away, o'er the bonny hills of Kielder, hark away. There was Maudie there, frae Amataw, there was Royal Fae big thin. There were hounds frae Reed and Kielder, Heed and Ruby by the Linn. There were hounds of Fane frae Earthenside, to try baith Moss and Crag. Hark, hark, that's Maudie's loud clear note, he has bold Reynard's drag. Hark away, howl! Hark away, o'er the bonny hills of Kielder, hark away. There's a right pack over on that corner, Away, away, o'er bank and brae they drive the wily game, where Maudie, Ruby Royal still uphold their glorious name. And see the lithe old shepherd lads, the monkside hicks they climb, they're the pride o'er the borders wide for wind and wiry limb. Hark away, hark away, o'er the bonny hills of Kielder, hark away. Through yon bright glen they view him now, straight for the Yarnin Linn. O'er peat and hag and moss and crags, the glorious is the din. We'll done, hurrah, they've run him doon, yon Maudie twirls him new. The hunt is done and his brush is won, I hear the death halloo. Give it soft. Hark away. Again. Hark away.
We'll be having Archie back in the near future anyway, so we'll be hearing more from them. To finish off the evening, Ted Furey and Phil.
You see that fella Ted Furey? He came over here to go to Blairgowrie, the Blairgowrie Folk Festival, which was about 3 weeks ago now. He told his wife, I'll be back on Tuesday, and he's still here. His wife's not worried about him, though.
No.
See a short ballad.
Short ballad.
My friends, since I've come to Scotland, I'm really like the frustrated bushman in Australia who bought himself a new boomerang and drove himself mad trying to throw the old one away. Well, believe it or not, I'm very frustrated because everybody wants the Mason's apron. So, well, we can't all have it at one time. However, it's for a little lady here called a niece. She's not only a niece, she's an aunt as well. This is my rendering of it anyhow. And at the bar, just a while ago, somebody said, would I give the air of the mountains of Mourne? The mountains of Mourne are just off the Belfast coast, off the Carnlough coast. I've been up there a couple of times, and they're a beautiful place, Northern Ireland. See Ireland first, as I say at home. But I'm seeing Scotland now from a front seat, believe it or not, through polarized glasses. That's right. Anyhow, I'm enjoying every moment and every mile of it.
That's an in-joke.
When I'm travelling here with Aaron, he goes fairly fast. It's a mile a minute and a trill a second, believe me. Anyhow, the mountains of Mourne goes something like this. I don't know if I can sing it or not, but I'll do my best anyhow. Ah, Mary, this London is a wonderful sight. Faith, the people here's working all day and all night. They don't sow potatoes or barley nor wheat, but there's gangs of them digging for gold in the street. At last, when I asked them, that's what I was told. So I just took a hand for this digging at gold. But for all that I found there, I might as well be where the mountains of Mourne go down to the sea. There's beautiful girls here, never mind, with beautiful shapes nature never designed, and lovely complexions all roses and cream, as young Peter remarked with regards to the same. And if of those roses you happen to tape, the colour might all come away on your late. So I'll wait for that wild rose that's waiting for me. Where the mountains of Mourne sweep down to the sea. Did you all hear tell of O'Loughlin, of course? I met him in London at the head of the force. Yes, I met him today. I was crossing the Strand and he stopped the whole street with one wave of his hand. And there we stood talking of days that are gone, while the whole population of London looked on. But for all his great powers, yet he's wishful like me to be back where those mountains sweep down to the sea. Thank you very much. Don't mind us, we're going to a concert here. This is a little reel I collected in Aberdeenshire up at, bless my soul, for that Peterhead. And I was in there visiting the jail as a visitor, by the way. I collected from a fellow called Peter Hutchison. He was a crofter, a fisherman there, and his father. Very nice people. I spent a fortnight there and I had a wonderful time. And he was an accordion player and a piper, and a wonderful musician he was. He gave me this reel, and after 35 years, I think it still sounds good. Oh, by the way, it's called Kieran Gorham. I wanted to know what Kieran Gorham meant, and they told me what it meant, and I went there to see it, where they picked up a stone. I got some stones there too. I got them out since they were gallstones, by the Anyhow, and I'm not doing it justice, I'm afraid, but I'm doing my very best, and I hope you will bear with me. I'm just doing my best. I just can't do it justice. It's a beautiful reel, and I'm very fond of it. Now, I'm going to play a reel called The Tap Room. You're sitting in it right now. But this reel was composed in Sandy Bells in Edinburgh, by the way. It's for all those fellows with the broken pledge. Oh, by the way, when I spoke of broken, I remember an American coming into O'Donoghue's in Dublin. No bloody commercials now, that's no. He came into O'Donoghue's and I had a little horseshoe on the lapel of my good coat, by the way. It's in the pawn now. However, Yank was looking around, a big cigar in his mouth, and he said, what's this round thing you've got in your coat, lapel? So this fellow told him, Mister, he said, I'm a Gaelic speaker, an Irish speaker. He said, I speak my mother tongue, he says, and this proves that I have English as well as Irish, you see. So, next thing happens was, anyhow, that he said, he said, you got this ring. He said, gold in it? Yes. Your man said it's gold. Yes, sir, I said it's gold. Yeah, well, he said, what's that in that glass? He said, it's Guinness, sir, he said. Well, he said, give this man a large Guinness. So the next thing happens was he got the large Guinness and he started to translate from and all transpose and all the thing, whatever the hell he was doing it. So he come over anyhow to me, I was playing, and he said to me, I say, you got a ring in your coat too, he says, but there's a bit out of it, he said. Oh, that's right, sir. I said, that means that I speak broken Irish, I said. The tap room reel, Sandy Bell's favourite. This chair is 4 short legs or something. Yes. Did I hear somebody saying something? Oh, you'd want Joe Heaney for that, I'm afraid. Not me, I'm not Edinburgh. I'm getting too old. Yes, I was informed, by the way, in Edinburgh the other night that Joe Heaney is coming back to Scotland to do a tour of Scotland. He's like me, he's so in love with it. He's coming back to do a tour. And I'm quite sure that all of you will be very pleased and very happy to meet him. He's a wonderful man, believe me, he's a wonderful man, a wonderful singer. And now that he's gone to America, in Ireland we say, oh, he was a great man. He was a great man, yes. But when he was there, he was like myself, no good. Now that I'm away from it for a little while, I hope they'll miss me. I know they won't. They tell me in Scotland when I go they're going to miss me, but they won't miss me for long, believe you me, I'll be back. This is a thing called Andrine Dun. It's known as the blackthorn, or the black. It's known as the shillelagh stick that they used to put down their back one time to scratch it like this. The cord is sticking out, you know. Very handy thing. So we'll have it. There's a special dance to this, and it's done with a stick, and it's not like you do the sword dance here. I was just going to say, I thought those young ladies were leaving us. I was going to say 2 more satisfied customers going away, you know. I heard that in Edinburgh, by the way. Please, if there's anything I can play for you, all of you, and it doesn't matter, any of you, if there's anything at all that I can play for you.
Dark Island.
No, I never play any Scots music. Unfortunately, I'm afraid I don't. But Connacht Man's Operas, yeah. Some young lady by the name of Mara asked me would I play something for her, so I'll play Mara, my girl, will I? No? Well, I won't. I'll play you something Edinburgh. This is Connery's. This is a thing called Connery's. It's a beautiful thing, and Nicholas Thaw-Bean sings. It's a beautiful song, and this is the man that gave it to me. I jotted it down when I was singing it one night in a ring in Clancy's house, Liam Clancy's house, and he's a wonderful, fine singer, wonderful fellow. So this is Connery's.
might explain for any guitarists in the audience that although I've been accompanying Ted for the past couple of weeks, he's got some fantastic repertoire. Every night he plays about 15 new tunes to me, you know. If you hear any bump chords from me, it's because I've never heard the tune before.
All lies, don't real mind him at all. He's telling lies, don't He's always, we do this, you know, this is part of the program, you see, we praise one another, you know, I say he's the best accompanist I ever had. I know he isn't, and he knows it, but how?
Ah, you lying swine.
And of course, the next thing happens is he tells me that I play 15 different tunes. I don't think I've got 15 tunes altogether. This is one from the very famous Sean McGuire. I hope I can do it. I'm afraid I can't emulate him. I can't even ape him, but it's very difficult. But it goes something like this, anyhow. I told you I couldn't do it. Yes, I got the other foot up at last, thank God. That's great, man. I think I told you the last evening I was here about myself at home in Dublin, at least in Dublin anyhow. I don't know about here. I'm beginning to believe it about Edinburgh too. You couldn't get anywhere if you hadn't got a beard, you see. So I started, you know, grow one, sprout one and all, and I was shaking seeds and everything and all night and all. I got it to come along all right. And the damn thing would insist on going out that way, turning in this way, you know. And it was something like you see on a pack of cards, the king of clubs or spades. I used to shave it in here and shave it down in here and all that thing, and I had a beautiful little... But anyhow, the missus could never get asleep. She said, for God's sake, she said, try and shave that off, Ted. She said, I just can't get asleep, she said. Well, good God, I said, what the hell, when you're lying face to the wall, I said, it's surely not tickling your back or something like that. And I said, I lie all the time on my right side, I said, with my hand beneath my head, and I'm all the time pretty well turned away from you. I said, what the hell is wrong with you? She said, no, it's not that. It's not the way you lie, she said, at all. But she said, all night long, she said, you keep fiddling with your whiskers and I can't get asleep. So. Now this is a little girl that I know well. I knew her mother. She was very rich. She kept chickens in Dublin one time. She's known as the Sligo maid. I'm thinking strongly of leaving you all tomorrow, going home. And for a week at least, anyway. Well, I would like Oh, don't worry, I'll make no mistake. But I want to thank all of you for being so very kind, and all of those friends that I've got in Edinburgh and Blairgowrie and St Andrews and all of the thing. I don't have any words adequate enough to thank you. So the only thing I can say, and believe it, I mean it, is thank all of you very much. You're very good health.
I might say that Ted, as every weekend passes, he's thought of going home the next day. We persuaded him to stay another week by asking him to come to St Andrews today. I don't know whether he'll be staying on anymore, but anyway, as he says, he'll be coming back.